All right, welcome everyone. This is a Viper Professional Training and Sport webinar. Today's date is August 17th, 2016. This is the Wednesday night webinar. And the title of tonight's webinar is 5 Safe Trades with Viper Tools, Made Even Better with Power Meter, and this is part 4. And as everyone knows that's been to our webinars or our live trading room, everything that we say and do at Viper Trading Systems is for educational purposes only. Futures trading, Forex trading, any kind of financial instruments trading involves risk. Therefore, there's always risk of loss. You should only trade discretionary capital, and that is money that you can afford to lose. Nothing said in this webinar. Other webinars we might have, our live trading room or anything else with Viper Trading Systems should never be construed as trading or investment advice. And as always, everyone does trade at their own sole discretion. Any questions on the disclaimer? All right, I don't see any. So let's go ahead and get started. Now I'm going to go a little bit basic right off the bat, like we do quite often to start it out, because we've got new people coming in all the time. Okay, so we'll go over some of these trades. Bear with me a second. You should be able to see a screen showing the safe trades that I personally like. Now, if you're really good at your trading right now, you don't have to worry about any particular kind of trading. Stick with what you know, and if you're doing well at it, you don't need to change anything. But, if you want some safe trades that'll make sure that you don't end up putting heavy stops and things like that, these are my 5 favorite trades. The predictor trades, the retrace kiss trades. And when I talk about kiss trades, we're not talking about in sideways chop. We're talking about when they've broken out. Okay? Kiss trades are really, really good. Now, you can take some in chop also if you've got enough room, that is, and we'll talk about some of that. You need a good 40 tick, at least 30 to 40 tick range to do this because you want to scalp it, okay? But where they really work is when they break out. And then you just simply sell on the kiss on a short and you buy it on a long. And then, of course, mid-band trades, we talked about those last week. We're going to try to talk about phantom trades a little bit tonight. And then these tight box trades. And when I say tight box trades, at the open, you can go a little bit heavier, kind of like we did this morning on NQ. But keep in mind, anytime you get a breakout, there's always that chance that they're going to go right side and back in that box, even take that box out by a tick or two, and then pop it up, and you're sitting there feeling, quite a bit of heat, especially if it's a bigger box. So always be careful with that, because if you're talking about multiple contracts, that can add up very, very quickly. Okay, I drew this on the chart just for some people were asking, basically, when you look at power meter 1, 2, 3, and 4, it doesn't matter. They're still doing this exact same thing. Okay, you're getting this thrust down, this retrace, this thrust down, this retrace, this thrust down. You're getting the thrust up, the retrace, the thrust up, the retrace, the thrust up. Okay. Whether you're on power meter 1, 2, 3, or 4, it really does not matter. Okay, but now power meter 3 is the one that we like to personally use for the trend. Okay, that's pretty important too, because it basically gives you a little bit of time to have some of that choppy sideways stuff, and it designates a higher low or a higher high on that lightning 3. And I'll show you what I'm talking about on that in just a minute. But I'm going to draw something here real quick, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. Okay, I'm going to draw this right here, all right, just like we did a minute ago. And I want to ask everybody, when this comes the opposite direction on the trade. Okay, if I was to draw something like this, I think it's pretty easy to see that that's the same as this, right? Okay, but when does this change from a downtrend to an uptrend? And that's really important to know, because that's where your little breakout trades come. Okay, if it came up here like this and then went down like this, obviously that's still not a change of trend. Lightning is still heading down, right, at the moment. Now, we don't know it's going to continue heading down because it's not taking out this swing right here. But if it takes out this swing right there, then it's no longer heading down. Okay, and always remember that when you're trading, whether it's lightning 1, 2, 3, or 4. okay? Because when this changes back to the up direction is when it takes out lightning to the upside. Now it actually took it out, like say right above this little swing right here, okay? If you're looking from this side. Now if you're looking from this side, it really took it out when it took out this. Everybody see that? And it depends where you want to get in this thing. Now I personally like to get in more like this, where it pops up, pulls back and kisses. That, see, because that's your new high, low, higher, low. And this is where you want to actually buy the trade, would be right there at that line, okay? That's what you're looking for. And that's why we've designed predictors. That's why we look at KISS trades. That's why we look at mid-band trades. And that's also why we look at phantom trades. Now the tight box trades are just a little bit more consolidation. Now I'm not real hot on boxing in at mid-band unless I know for sure that it's going the direction that I want it to go. Okay? In other words, you can box in at mid-band and get a little quick pop long and then find out that it's still a lower high and then they just tank the silly thing. Okay? So you got to be careful of that. Does everybody see what I'm talking about right here? You know, I just drew this as an example because lightning draws this way on the chart to begin with. You start out, you know, you're heading down, for instance. When did it break up? Well, it broke up when it took out the swing. When lightning changes to the power meter going back up, it's actually starting to head up. Now, the thing you got to be careful of is when it pops up, this is what it does most times. All right, let's say that it popped up like this and you didn't catch it there, but instead of coming back on top of here and just perfectly bouncing, it does this instead. See, but as long as it gets a higher low than the lightning that's identified and starts heading up again, then obviously that is still a lightning type of trade, right? That's what you're looking for. Higher lows and higher highs, okay, as far as the long side. Okay, now let's go to an actual, another blank chart just for a moment because I want to show you something. All right, bear with me a second. Now, if you were looking at this chart right here, this is our lightning 3 right now. Okay, we've started out over here. It's looking like, you know, pretty decent uptrend, but what does it take? Notice that power meter 1 and 2 are red, so it's kind of saying, well, we're kind of retracing a little bit. Let's see how they're retracing. Okay, and if, now this is still an uptrend right now, what would it take to change this trend to a downtrend on this chart right here? Anybody? It would take taking out what? 37, right? Because exactly. See, that's the whole thing. When you draw on your chart, you're doing exactly what I did down there on that last chart. You're drawing, let me see if I can draw this. You're drawing just a larger set of swings, but it's still the same principle. This high is taken out right across here. Okay, so that means I'm getting ratcheting up right here, right? Okay, so if I look at this on the same type of thing that we're looking at earlier, and let's just take all this lightning 1 off for just a minute. Bear with me a second. I want to show you something. This will change your trading quite a bit. Let's get rid of this. All right, now we know for a fact that the prices went all the way up into here, don't we? But this is what it actually has done. It's actually gone like this, right? Now what was I drawing just a minute ago when we talked about where it's going from higher highs and higher lows to what would it take to change this direction? Wouldn't it be changing when it takes that out right there? See, because then wouldn't it be more than likely stair-stepping down? If it does it. Now, I'm not saying it does it. I'm just trying to show you how to see in real time on charts what you're looking for. Okay? What if it did something like that and then just decided to tank even? Okay? That's what you're looking for. You're looking for, you know, just pretend you're at some apartment building or something like that, and you're going up a flight of stairs and immediately goes to a little, you know, stair area, you know, where you've got the little flattened area. Forget what that's called. And then you just go straight back down. Okay. The landing. Yeah. That just missed me for a second there, Jonathan. That's 63 years of age. Notice that some of our political candidates are starting to miss a few things here and there too. Okay, but anyway, just pretend you're going up a set of stairs, and then the moment you hit that landing and you start walking back down the other side, you're doing exactly the same thing. You're stepping up, you're at that landing, and you're starting to step down if you take this out, right? And that's what trading is all about, is knowing where the trend is on parameter 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now we talked in detail about the predictor, but I've had several people that want to talk about it again, so I'm going to go over it just slightly, and then we'll go into the phantom type trades like I talked about. Okay, so let's go ahead and get a real chart and see what's going on in real time. Bear with me a second. You should be able to see a real chart. And there's your real chart. Now, right just a second ago, and we used a real chart, by the way, because we used lightning. That's pretty much what we call the identified swing on a lightning 3. See your lightning 3, green, yellow. Didn't make one up here, but that's a higher high. And if that takes that out, would you want to take this particular predictor? Now that's one thing you want to really look at exactly, because that's one thing I want to show you tonight as much as possible. When you want predictors is when it's either totally sideways or when it's totally stair-stepping up and it does not take out previous swings. Now we don't know if it's going to take this out, but what I'm saying here is if this doesn't bounce here, okay, and it comes through this predictor, then more than likely you're not going to be still heading up. Okay? You don't see the number 3, Kenneth? Well, basically, it may be a little bit harder to see, but it's this yellow right here, this number right here, that 18,537, and then the 18,552. See it? Because if you draw it on your chart, you'd be drawing it like this with control key, basically like that. Now see, that's a low, that's a high, that's a little lower low, so you'd start your count over again. So you're a high, a low, a higher high. So that, you know, even without drawing this, you can draw it like this. You know, this is what this chart's looking like right now. Lightning 3, retrace, higher high. So if it takes this out, are we really heading up anymore? But if it bounces here, do we have us a decent trade? Okay, and that's what you got to determine each and every time. I like to personally look at my lightning 3 as pretty much my medium trend. Now, there's times where you got to be careful of that because it can really go chopping major sideways, like through here, for instance. See where you get that same lightning 3, got the same lightning 3 down here. That pretty much tells you you're chopping, right? Because the identification of a trend is, of course, higher highs and higher lows for a long trend and lower highs, lower lows for a downtrend. So let's just see if we're going to get anything on this particular trade. Now, a lot of times, let's go ahead and put Object Trader on it. Replay, that's fine, and then we'll go to like 3 contracts. We'll go to 4 since it's YM. All right. Now, what I'd be looking for on this particular trade right here would be, and I might go ahead and take this if it just barely takes this out and bounces, but you want to be really careful if it does it. Will we use bar close up for entry? You could. We'll just use bar close. Let's let it touch it first, though. I like it to kind of touch it. Now you could turn on bar close like right now. And let's just do like for say 10 ticks to give an example. Now this looks to me like this could be changing trends because it's taken out line the Lightning 3. It is a mid-band trade, but what's our rule of thumb on mid-band trades? Well, we've got a mid-band swing right over here. See where it went from magenta down to this red? That blue is pretty much even with that. So to me, that doesn't constitute a trend change. I like to see it actually get above that previous. You see what I mean? Now sometimes it'll go ahead and head up, and it may go ahead and even do it this particular time, but that's one of the rules of thumbs that I look at personally. All right, so let's see if we can get this trade. We'll just see. Now if this, I've got in my mind though that if this does happen to break down, that I'm going to draw a line like right across here, because if this does break down, it'll thrust down, it'll pull back up and kiss, and it'll roll over. Okay, so we'll be able to take the trade either way. Now, like I say, this is a fairly risky trade because I've got my Lightning 3 being taken out. Okay, now we're in the trade. Okay, we're in the trade. Let's see if we can get anything at all. We'll see. We got 40 bucks so far. Let's see if we can get a little bit more, maybe. That's a predictor. That's a predictor that may work and it may not. We'll find out. Making me a little nervous on what it's doing. It's still at mid-band though, so let's just give it some wiggle room. Now keep in mind, 12 ticks times $5 is 60, times 4 is 240. So if we get stopped out, we're going to lose $240. Now that does make me nervous now because that's taken out mid-band. I would probably be having my finger on the close trigger just in case. Let's see if we can get this up. Maybe. And I'm going to put that on exit on close, obviously, because I like exit on close. Now to me, also looking at this, this is actually a high, a low, a lower high, but basically just the same low. So for all intents and purposes, this is still a downtrend. Okay. But, well, as a matter of fact, you've got Power Meter 3 saying it's a downtrend now. Pardon me. I had to cough a little bit. Okay, we're losing 180 bucks. What do y'all think? Should we go ahead and just take our lumps? Because will this predictor trade work out? Well, to me, it's already trying not to work out because you've got a swing right here that's been taken out. That's a Lightning identified swing. Okay, now when it does that type of thing, I am really nervous on this particular trade. All right, we're going to lose probably 240 bucks showing you a good example. That's the predictor that I don't normally take or call. Everybody see why? And if we get stopped out, we get stopped out. We'll get another trade. Bound to be another one. Now, when I see this kind of action, more than likely what I would be doing, I see a swing right here that has not been checked yet. I'd probably bring one of my targets to there. See it? Right there, a swing. And I hadn't checked this one either, but that's right at my cost, so I'm not going to do that. This is a swing right here that I'd probably want to fade just a little bit. Something like that. And let's see if we can get anything. Maybe we're losing a little bit. Everybody see why that's not a good trade to look for that particular predictor? Remember, hey, that's not bad. Let's go ahead and protect it. Remember, what you're going to be looking for is that same stair-stepping action on power meters. lightning, okay? Because just like we talk about in normal drawing on your charts, this lightning swing is identified. See it? High, low, higher, high. Identified swing. That was taken out pretty majorly, to use one of Donald Trump's words, bigly. Okay, that was taken out bigly. It looks like we're going to get stopped out. Okay, we might not lose very much on this though. You know, when we take a trade like that, and if it's not going to work out, we'll put our stop just under mid-band. Let's see, first time in mid-band after a trend change. Pervez, yes, but keep in mind, this is one thing I want to really teach tonight because we talked about mid-band trades last week. I want to show you the mid-band trades that will work versus the ones that a lot of times won't work. Okay, this looks like about a 61% retracement or maybe 50 on this move right here. We're still okay. We got 30 bucks. Nothing to write home about by any means, is it? See if we get anything at all. By the way, when you see them hem-hawing around like this, if you want to, you can always just click the close button rather than going red again. You see what I mean? If a trade's going to work out or if a trade's not going to work out, we don't know just yet. If we get a lower high on our lightning one, see your high, your low. If we get a lower high here and take that out, that'll be a lightning to the downside. We'll go ahead and take it off if it does. Now to me, that's pretty much constituting a trend change, by the way. Because remember we're talking about that landing on that staircase? Well, if your landing is right here, okay, where you stepped up, came up here, and where are you starting to actually change directions when you took this out? Okay, now let's see. I would be looking, since it's already come up here, I'd be looking for a kiss right here to see if we can get a short trade. Let's see if we can get a little pop down first and come back and kiss, and we'll try to get us a short trade. See, it's telling us power meter 3, 2. Now power meter 4 is still long. There's your little thrust down. Now we need a little pullback. See if we get one. And by the way, if you take this particular ellipse, that's pretty much, even though it's green, that's telling me that this is starting to head down. You've got a high, you got a low, you got a lower high, and now you got a little bit lower low. So this trend is more than likely changing. And we're going to find out here in just a minute. Now I'm going to look for a retrace back to that swing, which is lightning, or this swing right here. This is the way we draw it in the room. And if it gets to either one of those and rolls over, I'm going to short it. Turning on my short, and let's see what we can get. Now that's pretty much like a little kiss trade. Okay, and let's go ahead and move our target out of the way. We'd obviously want it at least down in this area right here, like so. Okay, does everybody see where that trade started changing? Let's see, with green background but red power meter that's set to short the blue predictor. Now keep in mind, Carl, the reason that this particular trade still works out, and it looks like it's going to work out, right? Let's get the targets out of the way, is because this took out your stair stepping. You remember when I drew that on that black chart just a little while ago? Let me pause this for just a second. Let's go back to that black chart right here. Remember when we talked about this? this is stair-stepping up. When does it take that it starts stair-stepping down? When it takes out the last, when it was stair-stepping up, what we call our identified swing. So see, when you're looking at this, you're looking at a thrust down, retrace back in, and then like a rollover. So see, this is starting to stair-step down. And you can tell that when it takes out what's called the identified swing. Now, what if this had not taken this out up here and instead just started doing this and then headed up? Well, that can happen. But see, when you get an actual identified swing, and on this particular chart, you can definitely see, let me get rid of some of this stuff. You can definitely see an identified swing. See it right here, high, low, higher, high. This is your identified lightning 3 swing. That's when that power meter will turn red. Okay, now we know it's already turned red because this is a true chart right here. This is where the prices are. Okay, and see, it doesn't do exactly what I said it will do. Now, it doesn't mean that it'll come exactly, but what you're looking for when they break these is you're looking for it to break, some kind of a retrace, and a rollover. Okay, and a lot of times you can even wait for the retrace to come back up above, and when it breaks the line that you just had drawn, you can fire the trade. Okay, now more than likely it's going to come back to this line right here and roll over to begin with, because that's now resistance right there. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is not show so much the green charts and everything as to how to see when the trade changes directions. Okay, this is how to utilize your predictors and not get caught with the ones that aren't going to work, because there are certain predictors that will not work, and when they'll work the absolute best is if there would have been a green predictor here, for instance, and a blue one up here, and then this didn't take this out and you came back down and you popped up again, you got another one here, and it just kept going. But when they take out these where you get all 3 of these meters going red, they're not really heading up anymore. Now if this was sideways for quite a while and you saw this was not an identified bottom, but it was pretty choppy sideways, you got to be careful with this trade. Okay, but notice how that does just what we talked about. See, you break down below, you pull back above mid-band, you're kissing resistance, and then what do? They roll over. Okay, now this is where I don't even personally like the phantom trades. Okay, because when they break what we call the medium trend, this is not a good phantom trade. Okay, because what is this doing now? Well, it's doing this, stair-stepping down, retrace, stair-stepping down some more. So would this be a good phantom trade to try? And the answer would be no, because you're actually on you went past the landing and you're heading down. Lightning 3 is very reliable, yes. Keep in mind that when you're going even sideways somewhat, you're still going to get these lightning swings that'll identify pretty well. Okay, just to give you an example, let's go look at some others. Let's see here. Okay, you have a high here, a low here, a lower high that's kind of telling you that they could be breaking down, and you've got like a swing right underneath here, right? And see, they broke down underneath lightning. That's your lightning 3. Okay, they come back and kiss beautifully at it. See it exactly kiss it right there. That's a good place to go ahead and get in that trade. You don't even have to see this amazingly on charts. They do this continually. We'll just look at lightning 3 right here to give an example. Before this ever even happened, this is what was happening on this chart. You had a lightning 3 over here, you had a lightning 3 here, you had a lightning 3 here, you had a lightning 3 here, lightning 3 here. So this was pretty much saying if they break that, they're going to probably go down more than likely and kiss that, right? So what do? They break down. When they take it out, there it is. They come down, they come back up and kiss. They touch the predictor. If they take this out, what are they doing again the next time? Well, they're probably heading up again because that's a lightning 3 swing. See if they do. Barely. But see what you're waiting for. You're waiting for a thrust and a pullback. That didn't happen there. So what do? You end up taking predictor trade, which you never got on that particular one. So you got to trade here. You got to trade here when it broke down. And like I was saying, when they go sideways like this, where you get a lightning 3 and a lightning 3 that are close like this, don't trust the little break like this, because that was just another good rollover. Okay? Let's look at this one still. Now, looking at this particular trade, let's get rid of everything on the chart here, and I'm going to get rid of this trade because I want you to tell me if you missed this trade. Let's just run it in its course and see what it does. See if we can get a kiss trade. Okay, we got a red background now. Okay, now that's a good thrust. All right. Now let's say you missed the thrust. Okay. Where's the kiss trade on this chart? Well, you're going to look for a predictor, right? And that predictor is going to pretty much show you where the kiss is too. Let's see if we can identify it before it actually happens though. Let's draw lightning on it. I'll draw lightning 1. All right, so we have a thrust down, retrace, thrust down, retrace, thrust down. So we have a swing here. We have a swing here that I don't like as much, and we have a swing right here. Now, it's tested that swing. It hadn't tested that one. 22? What do you think? Everybody see what I'm saying by testing? See, when this broke down here, it came back up and kissed, okay? Then it breaks down again. It kisses these swings that you draw on your lightning. So it's kissed 26. It breaks down pretty profusely, and it's not kissing anything. So where do you think it's going to kiss? It's going to kiss up in here, right here, because it's already kissed here. See, that's the swing. It hasn't kissed here. So I would draw 2 lines on the chart. It'll kiss either here or here. And your predictor will draw it in real time. Let's see, at 12:13 there was a green predictor. Would the fact that it was lower than the midline invalidate the predictor? No, but keep in mind you're looking for thrust and retrace. Okay, let me go back to that black chart because I know some of you are really getting close to really getting this, and it'll change your trading. I'll get rid of all this stuff on the chart. Bear with me a second. And we'll get rid of lightning. Go ahead and, oh, come on. Go ahead and reload NinjaScript and get rid of the predictor. I'm going to just go ahead and get rid of the indicators themselves for just a minute, because I want to just draw this for you, okay? What we were talking about, Dave, on your question, let's just do this without all the noise on the chart. Okay, I'm going to draw, let's just pretend these prices were just doing all this, but they were still heading up, right? You know, in other words, higher lows, higher highs, making this lightning 3. All right, and then you get a pullback on lightning 3, but it never takes out the low, right? And of course, you're stair stepping. Okay, and of course, then what do? They pull back. They'll probably pull back a little further than here, maybe, but not even further than here, right? Because if they pull back to here and take that out, they wouldn't be heading up anymore, right? Okay, so what normally happens is they'll look at this area right here and they'll take it out a little bit, like maybe even part of it like that, but they can't take this out if they're going to head up. This would be considered an uptrend only if this bottom line held. And I'll go ahead and put it in like white so you can see it. Okay, that line has to hold or that's no longer an uptrend. Now, if this prices did this, right, and then this, is that still an uptrend? It is, isn't it? Because you haven't taken out your established low here. This doesn't count yet. You see what I mean? Because they could do an ABC. This is what you see a lot of times on your charts. Let me get rid of that. It's something like this. Okay, that's still an uptrend, right? Because you've got a low here, a high, higher low, higher high. If you're looking at the chart in real time, is that an uptrend? And is that an uptrend? Is that an uptrend? Is that still an uptrend? And the answer is yes. Okay. But now, if it takes this out like with much of a close, you could say, okay, but on this side it's starting to take out my swing. So is it any longer an uptrend once I drew this last one? Now, if I drew it like this, that's still an uptrend, right? But if I draw it like this, that's lightning A, B, C, took out my swing. Okay. Could this keep heading down? And the answer is yes on that. But it could also just barely take out this swing and head back up too. I always look to the left side and my immediate side to see where things are. Okay. In other words, to me, this isn't really a downtrend until it takes this out on this particular drawing right here. Now, if you're a gutsy trader, you would simply short when it breaks this blue line right here, because more than likely it's going to come down, but it may not come down all the way to here. You see what I mean? It may do more like that, and then it could still do this and head up. Okay? Because to me, this is nothing but a low, a high, a higher low, higher high, A, B, C, boom, off she goes. And our indicators will show that, because you'll have a text here, you'll have a text here, you'll have a text here, you know, your little price fonts there, your little text. And so if you have those, then you've got to look at them in real time. That's what we're looking at on this chart here. See, looking at that same scenario right there, okay, that's a high, that's a low, that's a higher high. So this to me would be, you know, pretty much a trend change. Even though I've got a green background and everything, when that happens, that would still be stair-stepping down. Okay. Well, an ABC can be a reversal, David, but you know what you're looking at on an ABC is something like this. Let's say that you had not gotten this trade that popped up here, but you happen to want to be getting into it, like down here. See that little ABC? They usually do that. Thrust, retrace, thrust, even on the little micro scale. Okay. Now notice how when that does take out that lightning 3, that they come and they test it. But that's why we've you know gotten so much better over the years at getting in trades, even when the backgrounds are not telling you the same thing. Now you don't have to get in this trade on this particular move right here. What I personally like to do is see them thrust down, you know, get your little, like we took this trade, you know, we took this trade a minute ago, we just didn't make anything on it, 35 bucks, okay? But when it comes up here above this resistance area and then rolls over again, that's where those little boxes come in handy. You know, to box it in above mid-band like Charles talks about lots of times. Because, you know, if you were looking at this in real time, this actually thrust down below lightning 3. It pulled back up and kissed like it was going to try to head up. And then what does it do? It breaks back down. Okay? But you'll notice when they do break down, they'll usually come back up and kiss that same area, and that's why I love those kiss trades. Let's see, Kenneth says, that's where I lose. It's sometimes when I get a higher high, a higher low, a higher high. Let's see, and then a lower. Well, that's because they're doing that ABC type thing. But let's go back to that black chart, and I'll show you what to look for. We all have problems with that one, by the way. I mean, you just got to look at what's really going on your charts. But to me, if I saw this, I would still consider this, even if I didn't see this yet, I would still consider this nothing but a high, my low's here, and I'm doing an ABC. I don't want to take that out. okay? Looking to the left to trade the right. That's why you'll see me all the time drawing our charts, because if it does take that out, then I do want that trade, okay? But I'd probably want it more like this, where it takes it out and it comes back and kisses, like maybe even between the lines, and then rolls over. Something like that, okay? Got off a little bit more on teaching this lightning, but I think it's important because, you know, what changes these charts to begin with, you know, when they're going to change to all red. See, these power meters are just all red right now. Well, now your background is and everything, but look when it changed. You actually got right here on the magenta was literally in this bar area right here, maybe even over here possibly. It depends where it actually changed it, okay? But if you missed that trade, you can still diagnose where it's going to go, but we give you indicators that'll tell you where it's going to go. Watch and see if the indicator doesn't. With my diagnosis on this chart, watch my predictor and see if it doesn't show up right where we want it to be. We know that it hasn't checked. Okay, it checked here. See the little swing? Perfectly. Then it pops down. It hasn't checked here, hasn't checked here. So I would expect 22 actually, just around mid-band. Let's see if we can get it. Now, I don't personally like, if you get a predictor like this and they've never checked, let me show you a little trick that I use too, because that could be a predictor for a quick scalp. It did hit predictor, okay? And a lot of times you just want to scalp that, because to me, when they break down profusely, they always go back and check it. I mean, almost always go back and check it. So let's see if they don't come up very possibly. It may make a liar out of me, and that's all it's going to do. That is a lightning swing. It is identified, okay? But let's see if they go and check where we think they will. Okay, they checked here, right? So let's take that line off the table. They haven't checked here yet, 22, and they haven't checked 19. Now this one here, they checked all the way down to here. See it? That could be a decent trade, and it did come to, you know, where it's checking an identified swing, right? But most of the time when you see these things just barely give you something, I just about bet you it goes up in that area. And if you get in the habit of watching for these mid-band trades to begin with, they're pretty good. We talked about the mid-band trade last week. Let's see if we can get it. Has not checked there. It definitely did check there. Okay, everybody see it? Thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust. It has not checked 22. Has checked 26, 27 area. And they'll usually miss it by tick, so 26 to 27 is a check. Now, does this mean that you couldn't have made a nice quick little profit on this one? That's a scalper. Now, if it takes out this swing right here that it's already checked, if this didn't roll, see it didn't roll, so I wouldn't be in it. I bet you it comes up into here. Not yet, because it's got to go all the way, looking to the left to trade the right. That's our bigger swing right there. Did you see that? Checking support. I find that they always literally have their algorithms set to where they're going to come and check these areas. You do have one at 19 also. That would be mid-band. It hadn't gotten to mid-band yet. Your safest trade is mid-band or above. That's above right there, just barely. It's just right at mid-band. There we go. See if we get a lightning swing. Does everybody see why that has not been checked yet? Now, when they haven't checked it yet, they're going to check it. That's why we draw all over those charts in that room. Now, I don't know if I'm going to get this trade. Well, obviously, I'll get something if a bar goes down because I'll be in the trade. All right. We're just going to do some little scalping just to see what we can get. And then what I want everybody to do is tell me where the next trade is on the chart if we can still see that lightning swing. Where do you think they haven't checked now? Well, let's see. This one here, they checked 21, right? And we said 22. So where are they going to check next? Well, they haven't checked that one just yet. So let's see if we get a little thrust down, get a profit, and then come back and test. So we've already tested 22. We don't need 22. We're not going to just go for major profits. I just want to try to show you some good, safe trades. I'd probably put my stop at break even by now, just in case. For it to head down, what does it have to do? Same thing we talked about a few minutes ago. High, low, higher, low, higher, high, higher, low. Barely took out the top. Doesn't count. It would have to take that out right there to head down. Everybody see that? Okay, now we're expecting to go where? 19, right? Everybody see what I'm talking about here? You're still not stair-stepping down just yet. You did get a nice resistance kiss. If they don't take out support, what are they going to do? They're going to go back up and check resistance, but they should actually check our swing that they haven't checked yet. They checked a little higher. They checked almost to 22. So our next swing is at 19. See if we can get it. And we're already out of the trade, so we got to wait for what? A retrace. I've got a lot of people, by the way, that nowadays just like to do like I showed last week in oil. Scalp these things. You know, look to the left and see where they could possibly hit their head. You know, if this doesn't take this out right here, for instance, this isn't going to take this out down here. See, it just bounced off of there. Now, it doesn't mean it's not going to take this out, but so far, it's just barely wicking it. See what it does. And by the way, if you like Lightning 1 to actually take a trade, you could take a trade on a close above that line right there because that's stair-stepping back up. Everybody sees that, right? It's the same thing on a big scale or a small scale. We said, what, 19? We did get there, didn't we? Look where our predictor showed up. Think it might know a little bit? Let's look to the left to trade the right again. Let's see where has it been and where is it going. Okay. You got a little swing right across here. You'd want to protect some coin. That's practically at cost, so I wouldn't do it there. I'd probably protect it here at 06, like that. And I'd protect it over here on this side. They took that out, but they haven't checked it on the downside. And if I had just a few, I'd probably put it right in there. The reason for that is because I'm just trying to hit these little bitty swings just to show you what they do. Now, we didn't get to talk about phantom trades tonight, and I didn't plan on going this far without it, but I think this was even more important because some people, occasionally that don't see this. By the way, that's even another trade. See it? You could have added. We didn't add, so we're okay. But let me ask you a quick question. If you're looking to trade like this, can't you always wait for it to do these little kiss trades? Let's see, Joseph, on your question, well, we're looking for it to go down, to 96, right? That's where we'd be looking for it now. If we had some more contracts, that is. You want to add some? We'll add, for the fun of it, we'll add a few. Well, I only had 2 targets turned on, so that didn't help me. But yeah, you could go down here. See, it's going to check here possibly, and then more than likely right down there. So let's see, right on top of that swing right there is fine. Okay. How far above the 19 before you would have thought it was going up? Sometimes it will wick but not really take out the pivot. Well, Doug, on your question, what you really want to do is you want to, kind of stay with the trend. Don't go changing until it actually takes out Lightning 3. Just to give you an example, if we're looking at this chart in real time, you got a low here, a high here, a higher low, but they never took out Lightning 3 here to the upside. So if they were to change this to the upside, I would want it to do this. It would need to break up, pull back and kiss. As a matter of fact, this could even be like a phantom trade. It could go up here and then pull back and kiss and then take off. That's what you'd kind of be looking for. But you could also short the phantom too. Okay? But keep in mind that what I don't normally like to do, to me, phantom trades need to be in line with that same thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace. I don't like them to take out Lightning 3. I want to show you some good phantom trades that work and ones that don't, that rule works really well. We'll go ahead and speed this up. We're running out of time. And I'd put my stop right across there, then right across. That's fine. We got it. Okay, now I've got it going too fast now. All right, where's your next trade on this chart? What do y'all think? Well, let's see. And all this flopping around, let's see where they checked. Do you want to? All right, they checked that swing. They didn't quite check this one right here. They haven't checked this. Yeah, they did check this one, so we're okay. See, it rolled over. They pretty much checked that one there with that swing right there. And let's see where they haven't checked. Well, they haven't checked here, 496. So I'd probably draw with Lightning. I'd want to trade between those 2 lines right there. You know, see if we can get that one. Just diagnosing the chart, I think that's where we would be looking. Because anytime you break down, let me show you another rule of thumb you're looking for too. Let me get rid of the Lightning. Let's get rid of Object Trader for just a minute too. We'll put Object Trader back on. Okay, so you got a Lightning swing here. You got Lightning 3 here, and you got Lightning 3 here. So I would expect they're either going to come, they can't come to mid-band, see, because that would be taking out Lightning. So I'll skip that one because it's already checked it, right? So I'm going to be looking for this or this for a rollover. Let's see if we can get it. We'll see if we can get it. And you've got another one right here too. It's got to get up to at least one of the blue lines there before I turn this on. That's a thrust. We need a retrace. See, when we draw in that room, to give an example, every single day, isn't this what we're pretty much drawing? Now that didn't retrace at all, so obviously guess what you got to do? We've done missed the trade. We missed that one. Now the only way you can take this one is literally to chase it, and that's a hard thing to do. But see these little consolidation patches? Those are also what we call those kiss trades. See if we can get that one back up there even. I'll take that. The reason, because it just kissed, it's probably going to bite me. But I did, by my rule, I took a kiss trade. Let's see if it works. Remember I talked about stair-stepping down, kiss trades? Always wait for that little retracement though. It looks like we're okay on it. We're not tearing it up yet. This is the only way I believe in chasing a trade, is if they'll at least kiss a little consolidation patch that they made. They broke down. They're basically stair-stepping down is what they're doing. Lightning like that. See it? Now my stop would be right above here because that's my lightning swing that's identified above here. Okay? And we'll go ahead and put it on exit on close. And I'm going to add 3 if it closes down below that line. See if we can get something on this. See that same thing I was drawing on that chart just a little while ago? How perfect that works? It doesn't matter if you're drawing the larger one or the smaller one. It's still the same principle. You're looking at little bitty thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, thrust, retrace, or you're looking at these larger numbers, thrust, retrace. See what I mean? Now everybody, when we draw these lines on the charts in the room tomorrow, you'll know where they should hold. Now notice when I did that trade just a second ago, I had to put my stop above here. Okay, now that it's broken down, obviously I could put it here, right? Like so. Okay, and I'd probably want to protect some coin when it goes into that predictor, right? Is there another kiss trade going on? You want to try it? Well, we got 4 on already. That's a little risky. You want to try it? It's a kiss. Let's see if it'll work. It kissed and pulled back. Little kiss trade. Well, maybe. Whoop, whoop, maybe, maybe not. They love to wick. That is a kiss trade though. There you go. Now I'd pull my stop literally all the way down to there. Everybody see that? How a kiss trade can work? Now I didn't get a chance to really talk about the phantom trades, and I think we'll save it for another time, but I had too many people asking me, you know, to really go over how to use these predictors, how to know when they're not going to work. And I think that pretty much nailed it down to what it does. Notice when they start stair-stepping, when they start breaking out of a consolidation patch, they will give these little kisses. It's the same principle no matter how you slice it. If you look at a larger swing or a smaller swing, it's the exact same thing. Let me get that black chart back up that I had over here. Isn't that exactly the same thing that we're doing, just on a smaller scale? What does it do? Well, when it breaks down, what does it do? It breaks down, it comes back and kisses. Not always to the tick, but it can't take out that swing, can it? See that one? If you got in this trade like right here, where this actually broke down, your stop would be right here. All right. Then as it starts trailing down, let's say this did this, then your stop would be here. Because when this finishes and starts going back up, it's going to take out this line. You're going to get something like this. And then you start stair-stepping back up. Once it breaks that lightning swing, more than likely, if you get in it, let's say that you got in this trade when it just broke up and it comes back and it kisses deeper, unfortunately your stop's all the way down there. It has to be. Okay, I'll get these out of the way so you're not confused by them. Everybody see that? That's why I personally don't like the breakout trade as much, because let's say that you got in this trade when it broke here and your stop's all the way down here. Isn't it better to get in the trade when it does this? Breaks up, pulls back, maybe even a little further, but not quite to the swing, and then takes off again. That's when you get it. That's what we're doing, except the opposite side on that last trade. That was that same exact thing called a kiss trade. When they break micro, what do they normally do? They're going to go up and check a medium swing, aren't they? They're breaking micro. You can clearly see it. Now that's a trade right there, by the way, but we just missed it, so we didn't get it. I'm going to go ahead and close out the trade. All right, so if they break micro, you kind of expect them to go back to what? Medium swings? So let's look at our medium swing and see where this thing could very possibly be heading. Let's go with lightning 2 and see if we can draw it. And then we'll be wrapping. Okay, let's see here. Already kissed this one, right? So if you got that trade, you already got it. This is a secondary swing right here. I'd be looking for a trade right around in this area right here. Because see, it already did this one where it just kissed and rolled, but we missed it. So let's see if that trade that I talked about will work out. Pretty much is, isn't it? There it is. I put that on really fast. Everybody see why that trade also? We're looking at a mid-band type trade. And there you go. That was actually looking for that same trade that I've taught all night. They kiss a little bit above it. Was that a trend change? No. Not at all, right? Not even close to one. All right, so remember when you're using lightning 3, always look to see where lightning 3 changes back to the upside. To give you an example, well, let's just look at it just for a minute, and I'll wrap. We're just 3 minutes over. Where would we be looking for a trend change? This looks like this could be right here, right? And since this one's just a couple of ticks higher, that's where it would be breaking to the upside. Now, right now, you could box it in, couldn't you? This was 11:30 in the morning, but let's just see if we can get this, even if we get a little breakout trade. Let's just see if we can. I don't normally take a breakout trade, but I'm going to try one just to see. Look to the left to trade the right. Swing right across there. Okay, now I'd probably put a fairly tight stop on this, like under line 6 maybe, simply because what is this actually doing? Well, this was getting close to the feds and stuff like that, and there may have even been a high energy time. But what was also telling me, real quick, anybody that's really astute on this, did you notice these predictors? They stayed on the right side of them. That one didn't. Everybody see that? That's pretty much telling you that that run was starting to be over when they start taking out these predictors. Now, this was actually a little higher than I would have probably gotten in. I would have probably more than likely gone ahead and boxed this. But I just wanted to show you that when they break these lightning threes, it's just like flipping that chart over like we did a few minutes ago with the short. That's just a long. Okay? And this was what was kind of telling me that. When they break these lows, they usually break them solid. Then they come back and they do these mid-band trades. What did this one do? It barely took out the lows. That's not a double bottom, but it's when that trend is over. You know, you'll see that time and time again. Let's see if we can find, like even this one right here, when it just barely took out the lows, you know, it pretty much did a little bust up. But you probably wouldn't have taken that one as of yet, because guess why? You hadn't taken out any lightning threes. Your lightning three was definitely taken out there. Wow, that thing went crazy, didn't it? Everybody see all that? I hope you got something out of this tonight. We'll have to do the Phantom. I'll just show it in the room tomorrow, and I'll do a little video for everyone on the site that'll go over just a quick synopsis of the 5 trades. The double number Pervez is from your Lightning 4. That's your 12 range chart. That double number, if you've got our template, you've got that. Lightning 4 on your chart is this one right here. See, 12 range, 5 swing strength. And I usually do the high dot and the low dot so that you get those colors. If you need some help with that, I'll help you after the room tomorrow. How's that? Let's see, anything else? Let's see. I think I got all the questions, didn't I? Wow, that thing went monster, didn't it? Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. Keep in mind that if you look at these lightning swings, when did this actually start that stair stepping back up? Well, you can draw it on your chart and you'll see. Wasn't that an identified swing right across there? Lightning. And it broke it. Well, you could have gotten in a lot earlier than that if you wanted to, Tom. I was trying to show if you're really cautious, you want to really break lightning 3. Now, usually what I like to personally do is if I go for a breakout trade, I'm really cautious if they go up a little bit and then they pull back. Okay, but this was taking out your, what we call your medium trend. That's your lightning 3. So that was kind of a no-brainer. And just like when we looked at over here earlier, what did it actually do? Well, it took out, here was your medium trend right here. See your high, your low, your higher high? That took out that medium trend right across there. And then down she goes. Because that rule of thumb works, right? You just simply draw it on your chart. And where did that break the swing? Well, it was stepping up, stepping up, stepping down. Took out lightning 3. And those power meters will show you that too. All right, let's trade again tomorrow. There should be some good trading tomorrow. I noticed that on our high energy times tomorrow, or high probability trades, there's a bunch of them. So usually when that's the case, we get a good day. Okay, now also keep in mind when you take a trade like a breakout, like this right here, obviously, if you take that little trade right there, you don't use an entire 12 stop, because if this would have broken up barely and then pulled back, they could have rolled over, because that's that same instance of like a fake out breakout. This one happened to work out pretty well. Now, if you're trading like this and you see this thing just shoot up like crazy like it's doing right now, use your Fibonacci's, because I'll tell you what, so far by looking at this, I wouldn't personally be trusting. Let's see if it works the way I'm thinking, because that's like a leg 1 right there, isn't it? Predictor didn't hold. when I look at something like that, I'd be looking like, well, there you kind of bounced off of it a little bit. That's too fast. Couldn't trade it. All right. But see where what I was talking about, though? When you get a huge move like that, you got to really be leery of these predictors also, because you're pretty much going to get at least a 38 to a 50% pullback. And that one happened to be just a little over 50. See it? Just came just a little over 50, and off she went. So anytime you get a run like that that's like 100 ticks, don't just go for these little, like that predictor right there. That is not what I consider first time into mid-band after a trend change. That's too much of a run. And we've talked about this before. If you get like a 100 tick run, you do not do the mid-band trade. Because in the rule of thumb, at least 38%, well, you'd have to pull back at least 38 ticks from there. See what I mean? So that one I wouldn't have even thought about taking. You got to get a retracement. Okay, thanks everyone. Yeah, that was news there too. Okay, thanks everyone. We'll see you in the morning. Good night.